Georgia Virtue presents the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast.
Thank you for downloading episode 305, if you can believe that we've been on this long. This week, we have Biden insulted but not charged, Old Joe talking to dead people, Bud Light is back, a virtual child running for state house, gracious politicians with our own money, count the ballots yourself, squatting in Georgia, Nikki got her butt handed to her, SCOTUS, and trouble at the top of the GOP. I'm Dave Roberts. With me is my partner in this endeavor, Representative Emeritus Ken Pullen.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Oh, I'm on the right side of the grass, buddy.
We're actually recording before the Super Bowl this week, but I was trying to look and see if there were any prop bets for how many times they were going to show Taylor Swift this weekend. I can't find it. Are you going to watch the Super Bowl this weekend?
I am.
I mean, tell you, so who's going to win? Kansas City's a slight underdog, I think.
Here's the problem. I'm tired of seeing Travis Kelce, and I hate Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
28-3.
I'm predicting Kansas City wins 31-24. That's my prediction. They've been underdogs, I think, for every game in the playoffs. I think they win it again. So we'll see. We'll have to update. We'll have to talk about this next week.
Yeah, and look, I don't have anything against Kelce. I'm just tired of seeing his mug. Him and Patrick. They're on every frigging commercial.
Yes, Travis especially, yes. And I think we've said he's a spokesman for Pfizer and the vaccine. And yeah, he just pimps himself. Yeah, Direct TV. I mean, some kind of credit repair service. Like, dude, your credit's never been bad in your life. You make millions of dollars. Let's get somebody advertising credit repair that's actually got bad credit.
And apparently Swift has a concert going in Tokyo.
Yeah, but she's going to make it back.
Then's going to fly back for the Super Bowl. I assume she can afford the ticket.
And the private jet, yeah.
And the private jet.
That must be so nice. Like, literally, if I ever had that much money, I would fly private everywhere. That's got to be the biggest benefit to just having a gazillion dollars is getting on your private jet, like pulling your car up to the private jet, hopping on and taking off.
No, she has FU money.
She does. I mean, she's got a lot.
Like, she could murder somebody on Peachtree. And
I like Taylor Swift.
To get herself out of trouble.
Honestly, I like her. I don't know why she's taking so much grief. I mean, I like her. Dating a football player. The media's propping it up. The NFL's showing her all the time. It's driving more viewers to the NFL. They love it.
Man, she's supremely talented.
Yeah, she seems like she's having fun too. She's always smiling and laughing, and I don't know. I kind of like her.
Yeah, she's not really my thing. You talk about attractiveness. I've said that before. Not particularly my thing, but I certainly appreciate what she did for her entire touring staff when she paid them all at the end of the year.
Yeah, I like her.
And she's a damn good investor from what I've heard.
Well, when you got that much money, people invest it correctly for you.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you got different levels of investments. Yeah, but I need to find a concert, take my daughter to be a Swiftie if we can afford to go to a concert. They were outrageous now to go to.
If you're a true Swiftie and you sit on the Ticketmaster site or whichever one that she uses, and you wait for it and you get the original prices, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Them on StubHub.
It's terrible. The reseller market's real bad.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons I didn't go to a Braves game last year is the seats that I usually take, which is the Delta Club, were so expensive last year because everybody expected them to make the World Series again. I mean, look, if the seat goes, because it includes alcohol, if the seat goes for $150, you know what? I can probably drink $150 worth of stadium beer because that's only like 5 beers. Plus, it has a buffet and all that stuff. But when they were charging $500 a piece,
yeah, that's a little out of control.
$1,000 for my wife and I to go.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No,
it's just a certain point. I don't care how much money you got. There's a certain point where it doesn't make sense anymore.
I actually got a phone call from the Braves. So I got a phone call, and someone says, "Hey, this is so and so with the Atlanta Braves." I said, "Huh? Let me get. Are you looking for a overweight catcher with an arm that's not as good as it used to be?" She goes, "No, I was trying to sell you season tickets."
Nice.
So special prosecutor basically let Biden off the hook, but the big thing with it is it was called an elderly man with a poor memory.
I know. This just blew up last week. I actually blew up last Thursday night, but a special prosecutor report dropped, I guess, Thursday afternoon. It was 300 plus pages. I don't know how you write a report that's 300 plus pages, but he basically said he had willfully retained and disclosed classified information after leaving the vice presidency in 2017, but concluded that, quote, no criminal charges are warranted. And he basically said that there's no way I can put this guy in front of a jury because he's going to use his elderly status to get favor with the jury.
Well, and we've said between us that he doesn't even look like the same man he was.
No, he doesn't look good. If you look at pictures of him, even 5 years ago, he looks totally different now. His face is starting to cave in, and he just doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't look good. It almost looks like a different person. Not to go down a conspiracy here, but he does look totally different than he did 5, 10, 15 years ago.
He looks like the puppet Walter from the ventriloquist.
Yeah, but I guess he is 80. I mean, he's 82 now. So, I mean, at that age, it's bound to happen, right? I mean, I know 90-year-olds who are sharp as hell. I know, but there's not a ton of them. My grandfather was an educator, and into his 80s, very, very, very sharp, and could hold. Obviously physically he was declining, but he was very, very sharp. I never liked Senator Biden. I didn't like Vice President Biden, and I don't like President Biden. But at this point, I feel sorry for the man. Yeah, he does, and we'll talk about it in a minute. He's just his memory's getting bad, and right after this, so this report drops Thursday afternoon. He has a press conference that night where he gets up and has this angry press conference, gets in front of the media. He said, how in the hell dare he raise that? Because it referred to Biden not knowing when his son died, his son Hunter that passed away. And look, Biden said over and over that his son died. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. No, not the other one, Beau Biden. I'm sorry. He said over and over that Beau died in the war and in Afghanistan and stuff. He did serve, but he died of brain cancer when he came back in 2015. So look, Biden's got that wrong a lot in the past, but he said he said his memory was not bad. He said he was good. It's not gotten worse. Look, there's not a person in the United States that thinks that his memory has not gotten worse, but that's what Biden claimed. Yeah, he went after was it Peter Doocy? Yeah, right. Peter, because Doocy asked him straight out about this, and he said, "My memory must be failing because I called on you again." And then even during this press conference, he referred. He said, "As you know, initially the president of Mexico, Al-Sisi, which is actually the president of Egypt." So look, the guy's just he's getting all kind of stuff confused. I don't know about you, Dave, but I never think I talked to a dead person. And that's what Biden's doing. He's just losing track of space and time, right? He thinks he's talking to people that died 20 years ago. He doesn't know where his son passed away. He's just a mess at this point. But it's like we talked about earlier. Like, what are the Democrats supposed to do? I don't think anybody thinks Biden makes it another 4 years. And then you've got Kamala in the back. Yeah, you've got Kamala Harris. Yeah, nobody likes her.
Well, the intel that I'm hearing from inside the White House is the two of them are not getting along very well.
Yeah, no. I mean, mainly because I don't think people in the White House like the VP. She's not a pleasant person to be around.
She's also an idiot.
Yeah, she is.
Biden was not an idiot. He's got cognitive issues now, age related. But Biden wasn't the sharpest tool. But I wouldn't have called him an idiot. No, but
the Democrats, look, 4 years ago, they should have known that he was going to go downhill and could see. I mean, even 4 years ago, you could see this coming along. They should have planned better and picked someone that people had more confidence and trust in as a potential VP versus a DE&I hire.
No one expected a Democrat to win. It wasn't until COVID really hit, and this was after many of the primaries. No one knew that you could win the White House by staying in your basement.
Yeah.
And the economy had been going so well up to that point that they figured Trump was a shoo-in for re-election. And Trump lost to a guy who sent out tweets from his basement.
Yeah, man. Well, look, the economy does do well when you spend a ton of money and you cut taxes. So I think that's why I was doing well up under Trump for a good portion of it. They did cut taxes on businesses, which I am 100% for that. I don't think businesses pay taxes anyway. But then they spend a ton. But you end up not investing as much into your business or paying workers as the whole thing. It's just. Like they're stuck now. I don't know what they're going to do with Biden and Kamala.
It's almost impossible to unseat a president within the party.
Yeah, he could kick her out for a more well-liked VP candidate.
It would,
and I don't think it loses him a vote.
To be a woman of color.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As maybe he could put Michelle Obama, but she's not very likable. But he could not just take her
in today's
out
political climate.
Gavin Newsom in.
Yeah, you couldn't replace her with a white man.
Yeah, there's just no way. And Gavin Newsom is white as we come.
I don't know. It's bad. Every time Biden gets up in front of the cameras and talks now, it's bad. You just got to feel sorry for him.
But he was talking about speaking to a German chancellor that was dead before he was ever alive.
Yeah. No, last Wednesday, he talked about having a conversation with the former German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. And Kohl died in 2017, and he talked about having him, a meeting, a conversation with him at a G7 meeting this year. It's just
right. Oh, I shouldn't say he died before he was born, but there's I don't know at this point how you don't know that he's been out of office for a long time.
Oh yeah, look, this happened when he confused the German chancellor. Was like last Wednesday. Last weekend, he was at a campaign rally in Las Vegas, and he confused French President Emmanuel Macron with Francois Mitterrand, which was the leader of France between 1981 and 1995. Like, Mitterrand died in 1996, so he confused the guy that served in France in 1981 to 1995 with the French president today. Like, I don't know how you do that.
That's 19 years ago.
Yes, this is two people in the same week. Well, he's actually confused three people in the same week. Two people he said he met with, and they were already dead. And then he confuses the president of Mexico with the president of Egypt. It's just, he's going to have to go back to his basement. Did Democrats not see this? And look, there's people. It's getting ugly online with this guy.
We're seeing people of color leaving Joe Biden's camp in droves.
Yeah, now, I think so.
Are they necessarily running over to Trump's camp? Not necessarily. But they could fall into the Kennedy camp or something like that. People in Chicago are.
I don't know where the people in
pissed at him.
Chicago. Yeah, I don't know where the people in Chicago go. Like the people that are so mad that Biden is not securing a border. Do they go to Trump and vote for Trump? Do they stay at home? I think they're more likely to just stay at home and not vote versus vote for the Republican candidate, which is, I mean, if black participation in election goes down a certain percentage, it almost guarantees Trump wins. Trump wins in November.
Well, I was looking at numbers in Georgia, Michigan, and a couple other battleground states, because honestly, the presidency comes down to about 5 states. 10% of the states pick the president. Obviously, that Texas is going to go red. Obviously, Florida's going to go red. But you have purple states like Georgia and Michigan. And look, and I know the UAW finally did endorse them, but those, I think Nixon called them hard hat conservatives. Those folks, they know the pain. They know the pain of being laid off.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, I don't know. I mean, I was shocked when they reelected their governor.
Yeah, I was shocked too, because she was a tyrant during COVID.
Yeah, she's such a piece of crap.
This is Gretchen Whitmer up in Michigan. She was horrible during COVID.
Oh yeah, she said you could use a sailboat on the lakes, but not a power boat because of COVID.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, but Michigan's going to be one of those states where how goes Michigan goes to the election in November, and
but right now the polling looks very good in Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and those are 3 really battleground states. Now, do I think he's going to pull off again? Nixon, I think won 48 out of 50 states. Do I think it's going to be sweeping like that? No, but I'm not going to bet on it, because the last time I went to bet on it was 2016. Like, oh right, everything's done, cool. Went to bed, woke up, and go, what the hell?
Well, look, I think both of. If I was Trump, I would go to my basement too. If I was Biden, I'd go to the basement. If I was Trump, I'd go to the basement. People, when Trump talks, he loses people. And when he's complaining about everybody,
he's not going to stop talking, just like he told Republicans to buy Bud Light.
Yeah, that came out this week. But this is what's so crazy about Trump. So one of the Anheuser-Busch top supporters, right, works at Anheuser-Busch, is hosting a fundraiser for him. And the event's going to be a lot of members of Congress, Republican leadership. Donald Trump Jr. is going to be there. A real close friend of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? So what happens? Trump comes out and tells people that the Bud Light ad was a mistake of epic proportions. Totally agree with him for that. But now we need to forgive Anheuser-Busch. He doesn't do it because he thinks that we should start drinking Bud Light again. He does this because he's about to have a fundraiser by Bud Light. So again, it's like, yeah, I get you, but now you're...
First of all, he doesn't drink.
No, he doesn't.
And look, and kudos to him. He said he had I think it was an uncle who was a falling down alcoholic and told him when he was a young boy to stay away from it. The only time I've seen him drink is when he took a sip of wine at a toast, and that's the amount of his drinking. Even if he were a drinker, I don't think Bud Light. Well, actually, this is a guy who likes McDonald's, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he would like.
He probably would drink Bud Light. He probably would. Yeah, look, I think this Bud Light boycott though last year was one of the best things that conservatives and Republicans have done in a long time. I mean, Bud Light screwed up. I haven't had a Bud Light since. I think they should have continue boycotting Bud Light. I think it's a mistake for Trump to tell people to not boycott Bud Light anymore. And look, Republicans don't get a lot of wins. This was a big time win for Republicans boycotting Bud Light. There's no reason for him to come out and say, "Look, let's stop doing this."
Man, Bud Light has been doing a lot of patriotic ads. They've got Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah, they totally
Emmitt
are
Smith
now.
in an ad. People that we love. I mean, everybody loves Peyton Manning. But I just don't know. I'm not a beer drinker anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
I drink wine or I'll drink liquor, but I'm not a big beer drinker.
Like if I was Trump, I would go down to the border and I would set up campaign headquarters down there, and I would give speeches from the border every day until the election.
Go to Eagle Pass.
Everybody cares about the border. Republican, everybody cares about
Eagle Pass and stay there. And Abbott will absolutely let Trump do whatever he needs to do down there.
Yeah, not only people that don't care about the border.
Talking about stuff that's off topic.
It is. Stay on topic. Talk about the border. Republicans and Democrats both care about the border and securing the border at this point. The only people in the United States right now, I think, that don't care about the border are just a few fringe group of libertarian people out there that think you ought to have just open borders and let people come and go as they please. Hey, if you believe that, that's fine. I don't think the majority of the country believes that.
I wouldn't say libertarians. Here's the thing. If libertarian says we want an open border, they also followed up with no social programs.
I know, but you can't have. Yeah, they always say that. I got you, but you can't. But they'll say, but you got to have open borders first. Then let's work on social programs. The social programs are never going to get cut back. So yeah, I get what they're saying. They're trying to. Yeah, I get it.
If you take away the financial incentive, you'll only get people who want to come here to work, not people who want to go and beat the hell out of a cop in New York City.
Yeah, when are we going to take away the financial incentive? I mean, never. I don't see them. I mean, you saw this week that New York's about to start handing out cards for illegals. It's like they've designated $55 million to hand out prepaid gift cards to illegals in New York. And again, that's where the black community in New York, and Stephen A. Smith, I don't know if you saw it this week, talk show guy on, I don't think he's still on ESPN. He said, how in the hell is the government in New York giving $55 million to illegals when we have people here that are, living on the streets, right? We got veterans living on the streets, got veterans that can't get health care. And New York's giving $55 million out in cards. That's crossing Republican and Democrat because people think it's so stupid.
And that's where I think that Biden's running into trouble. Now, do I think that Trump is going to take New York? Probably not.
No,
but that's where he's running into trouble. And look, if Illinois goes red, it would not shock me at all.
Yep.
Because the major population area was at Cook County, where Chicago is.
Yeah.
The major population area, they're pissed at Biden.
Yeah, I just don't know if they'll vote the other way. That's the question.
I don't think they'll vote Trump, but they'll either skip that race or they'll vote Kennedy or something else. But what the hell do I know? I do know that we have a virtual child running for the state house, C.J. Pearson.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. Barry Fleming's seat. Barry was a chairman in the Georgia House, been up there quite a few years. He was appointed to the bench over in Augusta by Governor Kemp a while back. This is also the same representative challenged John Burns for a speaker role this year. So he's not, I'm not saying he was on the outs, but if you're going to challenge the guy that eventually gets the speaker role, you're probably not in the best graces. So Barry's got a special election in February. Early voting has started. C.J. Pearson is running for that seat. He's an African-American, 21-year-old kid. I don't know if, Dave, have you heard of C.J. much?
I really haven't. I mean, look, he seems very accomplished for his age.
I think he's a big-time grifter, but I'm sort of with, okay, so, but regardless of my, regardless of my opinion of this kid, what is so interesting about this is there's 5 candidates running to replace Barry Fleming. It's John Turpish, C.J. Pearson, Jim Steed, Gary Richardson, and Kay Turner. Kay's Democrat, and I think John is a Libertarian candidate because in a special election, it's open, anybody can run. But the establishment in Georgia, like Governor Kemp's office, especially his director of communication, Cody Hall, has gone all out against C.J. Pearson. Cody last week tweeted, C.J. Pearson is and has always been a grifter who has no principles behind his own benefit. He lives in Los Angeles. He endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. He was on Vernon Jones' campaign manager for governor of 2022. That's really what's got at some of the Kemp staff is CJ endorsed Vernon Jones and was his campaign manager when he ran against Kemp in 2022. So it's funny to see Republicans, and we talked about this last week, playing in primaries where you typically, Republicans try to stay out of primaries, especially leadership and parties and stuff like that. They are going all after CJ.
Well, I reckon he's going to get burned.
We'll see. Sometimes when you go after someone hard, people move to their side. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this. But
so we're going to have a special election, and with 5 people, it is highly unlikely.
More likely to have a runoff. Yep.
Not to have a majority. It's going to go into a runoff, and the runoff is going to be concurrent with the actual election because it is an election year. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, so this election, I think, is February 21st, maybe. It's coming up really soon. And then if they had a runoff, it would be sometime right after a presidential primary in March. So it's going to be very confusing if you're in the Augusta area.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've read some of his quotes that I don't hate, but I don't want to say that party loyalty is paramount, but it is something.
Yeah, I was trying to look up to see how much money these people that are running for this have raised. I'm sure Gary Richardson, who is the establishment pick, has raised a ton of money.
Well, that's the thing is if you are the establishment pick, you get money coming in from everywhere.
Yes.
If you're you or me, you're stuck calling people trying to get $10 donations from citizens around.
Yeah, when you get $10, you think it was the best gift ever. You really do.
And look, $10 says more than $2,500, which is the max for a state house.
Totally agree.
It says to that candidate that I don't have much money, but I'll give you what I can.
Yep, exactly.
And I think that's a much bigger endorsement than than a corporation or somebody from California giving him $2,500, which is I'm sure what was happening.
Yeah, so they haven't had to report yet on money raised. So we'll have to look that up at a certain point. I just looked up CJ. He's just got a personal finance disclosure out there, but it's nothing about money raised. And it doesn't appear that Gary Richardson has either. So I don't like that. I don't like for voting to start when people haven't declared where their money's coming from. So I'm not a big fan of the schedule. I think that should happen, but we'll see.
Well, we have more tax breaks in Georgia. Woo!
Yes, the government's giving back some of our stolen money, right?
They really need to be careful because they are dislocating their shoulders trying to pat themselves in the back over $300 a year.
Yeah, that's happening. So last week in a Georgia House, that income tax, they voted on House Bill 1015, which will lower the state's tax rate from 5.49 to 5.39. We talked about this earlier. If you make $100,000 a year, that'll save you $100, which is $8.25 a month. And they are running, laps around the Capitol, slapping themselves on the back for doing that. They're also taking down the state homestead exemption, or they're increasing it from $2,000 to $4,000. That's going to save homeowners roughly $100 a year. And I don't mean to pick on Representative Matt Reeves, but he said, this bill supports the American dream of home ownership in Georgia. Look, if people run out to buy homes now because they're going to save $100 on their taxes next year, it's like, dude, come on. $1,000?
Somebody who's in the 6-figure bracket.
Yes, right.
I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people in that tax bracket that live in apartments. Of course there are. But these are people that could buy a home any day they want to.
Yes. Hey, I'm glad we're getting back any money. I'm glad it's passing. Nobody's going to say it here, but no one's going to say it's not good that we're not taking down the state income tax. But we're literally talking about with $16 billion in reserve this year. We could have taken it from 5.49 to maybe a flat 5 or 4.5 or 4. You don't get
zero.
Or zero. You just don't get opportunities like this you don't get opportunities a lot of times where the stars align, right? You've got a big bucket of money. You've got a Republican House, Republican Senate, Republican governor, and they could have taken this thing down more. And we're still stuck at like just getting crumbs while we talked about this. And my wife's going to contribute or going to get some of this money, but teachers have got $10,000 in raises since Governor Kemp came into office. Most state employees have gotten anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and normal taxpayers get $100. So if you work for the government, great, right? If you don't work for the government, you get these little handouts.
Well, he keeps trying to buy off the teachers, and maybe it's just a personal thing for him as he appreciates education and all that stuff. But Kemp has to understand that you can give the teachers $100,000 raise. It doesn't matter. They're not voting for you in bulk. Yeah,
in rural Georgia they are. They're not voting on you in probably Atlanta, but I think most of the teachers my wife works with are Republicans. But yeah, in bulk they're not. There's probably more Democrat teachers than Republican teachers.
Yeah, and that's where Democrats have gone, is academia. Now, if you want to, you may be able to count the ballots in Georgia.
I put this story in at the last moment a while ago. Did you see this? State Representative John LaHood, John's from the South Georgia area. He sponsored House Bill 974. So what this is going to do is put pictures of Georgia ballots. They're going to display them online for the public to see and review after elections. So think if 5,000 people vote in Pike County, they're going to put pictures of every ballot online where any citizen could go online and count these ballots if they want to. You think this passes?
I don't know if it passes.
Secretary of State is not in favor of this bill, but Secretary of State is out of favor anyway up there. I think there's he's kind of on the outline. To back up, typically anything that involves voting laws or changes comes from the Secretary of State's office. They work with legislators, they get stuff introduced, they get stuff passed. Since Raffensperger is on the outs a little bit, now representatives are passing laws that affect his office. So I think it's got a chance to pass. And I'm not against this at all. I think it's great. I mean, there's nothing on a ballot that says Ken Pullen voted. This is Ken Pullen's ballot or Dave's ballot. Put the things online and then let anybody go in there and count if they want to. I think this actually does a lot to restore confidence.
Well, it's transparency.
It is. I love transparency. Look, this is what I talk to my local elected officials in Pike County about all the time. Is like we're only the only county around that doesn't have county commissioner meetings online. We have them at like 9:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. We don't have transparency when there's an office that needs an appointment to, like the local tax board. You have to, nobody knows what's going on. So to me, this just lends itself to sunshine and transparency, and you get things out there where people can see them.
Well, that's what really drives the Georgia virtue is transparency.
Yes, 100%.
And shining light on the areas that are not transparent, because it's supposed to be our government of the people.
I know, right.
So I don't see this as a bad idea. It's not. It doesn't have people's names on it, because that's problematic. Obviously we keep our republic based on the idea of a sealed ballot. but it does allow people. Now, look, you're going to have DeKalb lose their minds over this. And DeKalb is the county where they kept pulling ballots out of the trunks of cars.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing. Now, the Secretary of State said there's no money. There's no money in this bill to make it happen. That could be a showstopper to try to enforce it. But I like what Representative LaHood's doing. I think this is a good bill. I think John's been in office 7-8 years, been there a little bit of time. I think this is a good one. I'm glad I saw this week, and it'll be interesting if this passes, makes it through committee, and gets to the floor for a vote.
And as we record, a story that I saw come across was squatters are taking over Atlanta.
That was a good story too.
I mean, it's really the city of South Fulton, but they're talking about, I think, like 1,200 homes.
Yes, 1,200.
And these squatters are not criminals. They're victims. Just a lot. Most of them are victims, just like the owners are. They were taken advantage of through Craigslist ads.
Mm-hmm.
So what will happen is a scammer will break in, change the locks, and then go put this house up for rent, collect as much rent as they can until they get busted. Oh man, but it's also a thing where the people who are intentionally squatting destroy these homes.
Yes, totally destroy them.
Absolutely destroy them. They're running drug houses and houses of ill repute, as I heard it told to me in the Army, whorehouses. But they're ripping the copper out. Mm-hmm. They're stealing the HVAC. And renters do this anyway, and I don't mean to disparage anybody who rents, but when renters are knowing that they're going to lose their home, they're going to have to move somewhere else, they're about to be evicted, they become vindictive. I mean, they'll rip the plumbing out of the walls, they'll rip wire out of the walls, and of course it's completely disrespectful to the owner, because that person just wants to collect their rent every month. They don't. Yep. They don't care about anything else.
Yeah, this is crazy. I don't know where this is going. 1,200 homes, that's a lot. And I've heard a lot about this in other states too, but it's made its way to Georgia now.
And for the tenants, quote unquote tenants, that were scammed, I feel horrible for them.
Oh yeah, it's real bad.
But they also get looped in with the people who broke in to put up a drug den. You know, man, I don't know. It goes to how difficult it is to evict somebody in Georgia. In Texas, I think it takes 70 days to evict somebody. I think it's 72 days.
Yep, it's a while.
But 70 days to oust somebody. In Georgia, it could take 6 months.
Jeez.
6 months where you've put, let's go on the low end, $200,000 out of pocket. The renters cause $30,000 in damage is one of the quotes that I got out of the story. $30,000 in damage to repair it, and that only makes you whole again. It doesn't get your back rent and look, a lot of landlords are paying mortgages on these houses. Yep. Just coming out of COVID with the relief, quote unquote relief, that you couldn't evict anybody for 18 months, 2 years. So you know, if you're still a landlord at that point, that you survived that portion of it, and now here comes this.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So Nikki Haley got her butt handed to her.
This was pretty funny. So the Nevada primary was last week. She actually lost to none of these candidates. So with 86% of the votes counted, Haley received less than half, which is 30.8%. And then none of the above beat her. So it was a humiliating loss for Nikki Haley in Nevada this week.
We've got to get some better candidates. We really do.
Yeah, she's dangerous to me. I mean, we've talked about Nikki Haley. I don't like her at all. We're about to come down south now, though, for South Carolina and then Super Tuesday. I don't think she stands a chance, but it's going to be interesting to see if she can win her own state and, actually put up a fight and stay in the race.
If she gets her ass handed to her in her home state, that's it. I mean, she can stay in and keep her name on the ballot as long as she wants, but that's it.
Yep.
I mean, you're expected to win your home state, especially in a primary.
Right.
It's one thing if you're a Republican from, I don't know, California, where, in the general, you're going to get your ass handed to you. Yep. But in the primary, you should be able to win your own home state.
I know. I don't think she is there. I think South Carolina's going to go big for Trump.
Both senators already endorsed him.
Yep. Now, look, Tim Scott wants to be the vice president, so I'm not sure that's but yeah, I get you.
Well, you also have is it Lindsey Graham that's the senior
senator?
senator?
Lindsey Graham is terrible. Yeah, that's almost reason to vote against somebody if he endorses you.
I don't know how much endorsements do at that level.
I don't think they matter much.
But it does go to show that they stuck their wetted finger into the air to figure out which way was blowing, and then, just like you've said before, people like a winner.
Mm-hmm. They do.
So and neither Gramnesty nor Scott are dumb. They know what the hell they're doing. So when you give a presidential endorsement like that, it's not about helping him get elected. It's about telling the electorate how you feel and who you support. And if both of them did that, that means that they fully expect Donald Trump to win. Now, this is a good time to remind you these are our opinions, not those of anyone not on the show or any respective company for which we may work, own, or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories over at georgiavirtue.com. It's PETA again. PETA.
I know. There was not a good meal this week. PETA just stood out again. They came out this week or last week and urged the largest amusement ride manufacturer in Kansas to end the production and sale of animal-themed carousels. And they said, quote, children learn through play, and teaching them to have respect and compassion for all living, feeling beings can help create a more just and merciful world, PETA president said in a press release. She said it is demeaning and not good that we have animal-themed merry-go-rounds, and they are exploiting children and animals.
What the hell are you going to ride on?
Not an animal if PETA had their way. PETA's too easy to pick on. I'm sorry.
They deserve it.
They do, 100%.
Look, if they stuck to animal cruelty, I'd be 100% behind them. I think that the way you treat animals is
indicative of what kind of person you are.
Yeah, very, very much the way you're going to treat other people.
Yes, I agree.
So even hunters, most hunters I know are ethical hunters. If they take a kill, they want it to be as fast as possible. But PETA, if they were to stick to that, they'd be just fine.
Yep.
So Supreme Court actually listened to these arguments to keep Donald Trump on the ballot in Colorado and by extension be Maine also.
Mm-hmm.
The arguments were very, very, very interesting. I predicted 9-0.
I know. I bet it is too. There's not many 9-0 decisions either.
Actually, about 60% of them are.
Or 9-0. Wow.
And we don't hear about those.
We have a bipartisan Supreme Court.
We hear about Roe v. Wade and all that stuff. We don't hear about the other stuff that they hear, and a good portion of them are 9-0. But this is a big case, and even the liberal justices, with their questioning, were very, very pointed. That is a question of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, on insurrection. Mm-hmm. And whether or not somebody who has not been convicted, even accused, he's not even charged with insurrection, if he can be eliminated from the ballot. And they bounce between the 14th and the 10th Amendment to say, hey, this is, the states run the election. We can have whoever we want on the bill, on the ticket. The problem comes in, even for the liberal justices, that if you do that, Georgia could just decide not to include Biden on the ballot.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
Everybody wants to do things when their party is in charge without understanding that it can turn back around.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's what they were saying, right? It's even Justice Elena Kagan, who is one of the most liberal justices, she said, why should a single state decide who gets to be president of the United States? And I think that's where they're going to get, right? If states can't make these decisions to say who gets to decide, right? And by doing this, they're deciding who's the president.
Well, and the term I heard over and over from both the conservative and liberal justices was disenfranchisement. Is you're stealing people's votes from them. And it was very interesting, the back and forth. So you had three attorneys in there. You had one representing Colorado. Then you had one who is the Colorado Solicitor General, which is odd that she was arguing against her own state. Mm-hmm. And then you had Trump's attorney. And the back and forth was very interesting. For nerds like me, it was very interesting. I actually had to call an attorney friend of mine to ask what some of the Latin terms were.
That's funny.
And she said, one of them I gave her, she's like, that just means case law. So why the hell don't they say case law? Because attorneys like to feel smart.
And I think we were hoping that the decision on this would drop before we actually went and did the podcast this week. I can't imagine the Supreme Court taking that long to decide this. I think we'll have a ruling on this case within the next week. I mean, they've got to come out with something quick.
I hope so. But you understand how the deliberations go. They don't sit in one room together. Right. They all write their rulings and pass them around. What they believe and pass it to each other and all that stuff. You think that you could put the 9 of them in a room and just like a 12-person jury, put 9 of them in the room and they could discuss it. But that's not the way things are done up there.
Nope.
So Ronna McDaniel is out as the RNC chairman.
Yeah, and this is chairwoman. Unless you're a political nerd like we are, not many people probably even know who the Republican National Committee chair is. But it's a lady called Ronna McDaniel. She's actually told Trump that she's going to leave from her leadership role in the party after the South Carolina primary on February 24th. Look, I think she's been a total failure in her job. I mean, we lost the presidency, almost 4 years ago. Congress had an abysmal showing. What was that, last year, when everybody thought Republicans were going to pick up seats in the House, actually lost seats in the House. I think
individual state houses are losing ground also.
Yes, I think everybody thinks she has done a terrible job. There was a challenge to kick her out last year, and then Trump came out and supported her at the last moment. But it looks like now she's finally gone, and good riddance.
Man, I would really like to see the party, the entire party, the state and local, get off this populist movement and go back to principle.
Small I don't think that's going to happen.
Low taxes.
When were we small government, though?
Never.
I guess before we were smaller government before George W. Bush. I mean, he's really the one that kicked off the spending craze, if I remember right.
Well, he did after 9/11.
Yeah, and then it's never looked back since.
He created the TSA.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you that the TSA was never supposed to be the people that were patting you down at the airport. The TSA was supposed to be an oversight board, like the FAA is, with airline pilots and all that stuff.
Right.
Is to oversee, and individual airports would have their own security. Instead, you've got members of the federal government groping your genitals to make sure that you don't have a bomb stuck next to your pecker. Or virtually strip searching you using a machine.
Yep.
I am. My wife won't let me do it, but there's a T-shirt they sell. It's called "It's Not Gay, It's TSA," and shows a guy grabbing another guy's crotch.
You gonna wear it up to the airport?
Yeah, but Connie won't have it.
So back to this Ronna McDaniel real quick. There's a couple interesting tidbits on who's going to replace Ronna in this race. The front runner is Michael Whatley, who is the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party. He's emerged as a prominent contender to replace Ronna McDaniel. The other person that's kind of coming out, and it's kind of the dark horse at this point, is the former Speaker of the House from California, Republican Speaker. So he may go from being the Speaker of the House
to the head of the RNC.
The head of the RNC, yes.
That would be a mistake, in my opinion.
You know, they like him, though. Kevin McCarthy is who we're talking about, because Kevin McCarthy can raise, like, his deal is he can raise tons and tons of money. So what they're thinking is that role is a fundraising role. And they're thinking, well, what if we get Kevin McCarthy in, who's a prolific fundraiser?
But you have to bring votes in. And the Matt Gaetz contention of the party represents a significant amount.
Oh yeah,
now,
they do, definitely.
Is it 50%? No, but it's a significant amount of people that are Gaetz fans and Margie fans and all that stuff. Yep. I think it would be a tactical error to bring McCarthy in. Now, would they raise more money? Probably. Have they had a good head of the RNC since, I guess, Huckabee?
Yeah, I forgot Huckabee was head of the RNC.
Yeah, now she's governor of what, Arkansas?
Yeah, governor of Arkansas. Yep. Very impressive. I actually really like her. I think she's got a future.
She's a super smart lady.
Yep.
So, but I don't think they've had an effective leader since she was there.
No.
And she was out front. Like her, hate her, whatever. She was out front. She went on any news program, much like Vivek does, is go on any news program anywhere. She'd go on The View. It doesn't matter. And she would take the slings and arrows as she's surrounded by political enemies. And I don't mean they actually mean her harm, but political enemies, and stand there, take the slings and arrows, and push forth the view of the Republican Party. Yep. And I just haven't seen that with McDaniel. She's not out front. Most people don't even know who the hell she is. And that's a problem. Is if you're going to take that job, you need to be out front. People need to know who the hell you are. And that's the biggest problem I have with her. Plus, her name's Ronna.
You don't like that? I don't think I've ever heard that first name before.
Well, it's that's what I call COVID-19 is the Ronna.
The Ronna.
All right, Kenny. As we're winding down, what have you got for closing thoughts?
Oh man, I don't know if I've got any this week. It's I think we talked about earlier. I'm taking the family to Paris in another week or so. So if anybody's got any recommendations on food in Paris, looking very forward to eating some croissants. Told you we're also going to stay on Omaha Beach in Normandy, which I can't wait to do. I just can't imagine to see where D-Day occurred so many years ago. But yeah, looking forward to going across the pond again. It's going to be fun.
Man, I am so jealous. And I told you I had to cancel a trip to France in 2020 because, well, the country shut down. But I had Normandy and London, take the Channel and all that stuff on the list. I'm very jealous. It sounds like a fantastic trip. Now,
yeah, we're looking for.
You should probably get a second hotel room for your daughter.
We're not doing hotels. We're doing Airbnbs.
It is the City of Lights. It is it's supposed to be the most romantic city in the entire world, and you and your wife can get back and can't do anything about it. Not without traumatizing your daughter beyond belief. But no, I vacationed that way as a kid. We didn't, like you, I grew up in an airline family, so we could go awesome places, but we all stayed in the same room because airline mechanics didn't make a whole lot of money back then. So yeah, I'm sure there was something untoward going on when Dad would give us $20 and say, "Hey, go down to the video arcade. I'll see you later." So my closing thought: I got this cool gun for Christmas. It's a bug assault, and it shoots salt. And I've got the rifles, which are spring loaded. This thing has a CO2 cartridge. And I haven't had a bug in my house since Christmas. And I finally saw a moth. Now, could I have gone and gotten a napkin? Of course. But I go and grab my CO2 powered bug assault. It blew the moth into dust and took a quarter-inch chunk out of the ceiling. So my father thinks it's hilarious. My wife is pissed. Now, the bug assault pistol it was designed to take care of hard-shelled bugs like roaches or stink bugs.
Yeah, right.
You could hit them with a normal spring-loaded bug assault 10 times, and they just keep crawling. But this thing was designed to take care of that. But it'll take care of that and your paint.
That's pretty funny.
Well, I certainly appreciate everyone for listening. I want you to share and like us on the social medias. We have a presence on X, it was Twitter, X, although we don't do a whole lot on there. Facebook. We can be certainly found on our Facebook page. If anybody has any corrections, wants to yell at us, wants to tell us how stupid we are, or tell us why we're wrong, that's always welcomed. Even if I don't agree with you, I enjoy the feedback.
Definitely.
So for Ken Poland, my partner in this endeavor, for Eric Cumby, our editor-in-chief, I'm Dave Roberts. We'll talk to you next week.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.